Hello there, and welcome to NCBA Money Mastery, a show where we show you how to make your money work for you. My name is Leo, and I'm excited about numbers because the numbers that matter to you matter to us. Here are some numbers that matter to you around property finance. The first one is 105, which is the 105% financing offered to NCBA property finance clients for buy and build and property purchase. The second number that should matter to you is 25, which is the maximum tenor of offered by NCBA during the property finance journey. And the third number that should matter to you is 9, which is the length of moratorium extended to NCBA customers or constructed. Now, home ownership has remained an elusive dream for many Kenyans due to many factors. One of them is the high cost of land, high cost of construction, and the high cost of developed property. The process is also plagued by a lengthy land and property registration process. So is there any hope for a normal Kenyan like you and me owning our own homes? To help us answer this and other questions around property finance, I'm joined by Stella Mutai, our head of property finance at NCBA. Karibu Stella to Money Mastery.
Asante sana, I'm glad to be here.
And just to start us off, Stella, with such a vibrant population in Kenya, out of a possible 50 million, how come there are only 28,000 registered mortgages in this country? Surely, what?
Well, it's unfortunate that we are here. We have 28,000 mortgages in the industry. And this is the number that is recorded by CBK. CBK conducts an annual survey to all the financial institutions. And hence, these are all the properties that are charged to the banks. So you find that people own properties through different ways. There's some people who own properties through inheritance. There's some people who own property through maybe paying by cash or paying by installment, and also there's some people who choose to be able to build their houses incrementally. So you find that all these, that they're not recorded as mortgages in the financial institutions. Hence, we have more people owning properties and less mortgages in the industry.
So that's Stella. And now on the other side of that coin, you have a few people, a small subset of the population who are able to afford access to property finance and mortgage loans from banks like yourselves. And yet we are seeing a lot of apathy in this population towards getting mortgages and property finance loans. Why do you think that's the case?
Well, as I said, we have 28,000 mortgages in the industry, and there's so many factors that brought us here. One thing is that you find that the property ownership process is a lengthy process that is not understood by very many people, and so you find that the whole ownership journey is not understood. The mortgage journey is also not understood by very many people, especially the first-time home buyers. And you find that in the past there have been a mismatch of the property prices and people's income. You find that I earn this much, I want to buy a property in this place, but I cannot be able to afford that property. So then also there are other factors that have brought all these, is that in the past we've been able to get so many fake deals in the property market, masked as good deals, and people are feared of they've run away from owning properties. In addition, there's a notion that mortgages are reserved for employed people, which is not true. You find that even though I'm in business, I'm able to acquire a mortgage. Amidst all these factors, you find that at NCBA, we are able to work with our customers, guide our customers on the best deals in the property. Also, we have our property where we display quite a number of properties from vetted developers as well as realtors. You find that because of this fear that people have got in the industry, we try and take away that burden from our customers and at least do some basic due diligence to ensure what our customers are getting the right product in the market. So we work with our customers, guide them. Also, we have our relationship managers who are able to demystify the whole mortgage journey. And also, you see, from such Money Mastery series or what we are doing is to be able to educate Kenyans and tell them, you don't have a property, walk into NCBA, call NCBA, and we'll be able to support you in that journey, in that property ownership journey.
And thanks, Stella, for those insights, because home ownership, as you've alluded, it's one of the bigger lifelong investments that anybody's gonna make. So probably I think most of the fear is around that. But I'm glad that you mentioned that NCBA has, a number of experienced property finance managers who are able to demystify all this and, guide, a normal Kenyan like me through the process of owning their own home.
Yes, you should not fear, Leo. Walking to the bank will guide you, will help you step by step, and it will be a hassle-free process, and you'll be able to appreciate it at the end of it all once you call in people for the housewarming.
Great. Now, let's bring this to the current situation. We are now navigating the third wave of COVID. And, during the COVID pandemic, there have been some sentiments in the market that, borrowers and lenders like yourselves, have a reduced risk appetite. Do you think that's a correct assessment of the situation?
Leo, what I can be able to say is that the COVID pandemic has hit the economy a big blow, and it's not all gloom in the property market. And one thing that I know is that a property is one of the safest asset class. And so since it's one of the safest asset class, people have come to realize that I would rather own a property through a bank and stop paying rent, and then I become financially stable because it's a safest asset class. And secondly, you find that in case of a financial difficulty, a financial institution like NCBA will be able to support me and work with me throughout the journey. So also what we've noted is that people are moving in to areas outside Nairobi and its environs, and even to the county governments because of the devolution, and people want to own their own homes, and also they want to move into the master plan projects, the gated communities, just because of the securities and some of the amenities that they can be able to access. And we are working through our customers, guiding them and telling them, yes, these are the next frontiers. You can be able to own properties. If you're interested in this county, we'll be able to finance you and work with you throughout the property ownership journey.
All right, and thanks for that, because then if I had, dreams or plans of owning property in 2020, 2021, 2022, COVID then does not stop me into coming to NCBA, property finance, ask for Stella and start the discussions right now.
Certainly, we'll be able to work with you, Leo.
Okay, great. Now, going back to the numbers that truly matter, the ones that we displayed at the beginning of this discussion. 105% financing. What does it mean? Does it imply the 100% to cover for the property finance cost, the purchase cost, and plus 5% to cover the closing cost? Are you able to flesh that out for us?
Absolutely, Leo. You're correct. And basically, when you mention 105% financing, is that we are financing our customers up to 105%. And the reason why is that we are financing the deposit, which is usually 10%, as well as the closing cost. You find that when you want to buy a property, that these costs that come with the property, they're called incidental costs or the closing costs, which range in between 7 to 8%. So we are taking the burden away from the customers, especially the first-time home buyers. We are telling them we can be able to finance you the stamp duty, we can be able to finance you the legal fees, as well as the deposit, and work with you in this in the property ownership and guide you throughout. So you find that if I'm interested in owning a property and today you tell me to raise the 10%, you tell me to raise the stamp duty and the legal fees, it becomes a burden. Hence, it puts me off. So if you have an institution like NCBA that is financing up to 105%, definitely, and I know Leo, like you're going to be able to jump in so as you can be able to own that property that you have been dreaming of, that property that you have seen or you have been scouting for.
Stella, and I just love the fact that you've introduced a new aspect that not a lot of people think about when they're talking about owning their property or home ownership, because I think most of us just go there, we see the price of the property on a listing, and we think that's it. There are other costs that you've indicated that come with the entire process, and there's a stamp duty that you've mentioned, and I'm sure there are also other costs around the professionals that you need around it. I'm glad that the bank has thought this through, and they're able to offer us, me included, support even on that end, so that then I'm not stuck, in the process of home ownership.
That's true, Leo. You see, these costs, as I said, they range in between 7 to 8%. They include the stamp duty, the legal fees, the valuation fees. So if someone is taking this cost from you, definitely you'll be able to get into it.
And now bringing it closer to me, so the youth make up a bigger population of this country. It is well known. And are there, in your the property finance are offering, are there any specific incentives that are geared towards the youth? And are there actual pathways that you've established, to make sure that you're encouraging the youth to own their own homes? Because young people have a right to dream too, right?
Yes, definitely. And we are telling our young people, for it, let's dream for that property that you've been thinking about it. Don't be put off by the price. Don't be put off by the location. You can start off from anywhere. For instance, don't just dream about maybe an area near the city, or you can also start thinking about the areas outside Nairobi. You see, with Section 40 of our Constitution encourages or stipulates that there's a right for everybody to be able to own or access land anywhere in Kenya. So for that matter, what it means is, as NCBA, we can be able to finance anyone looking for a property, even those young people that are looking for properties. We can be able to finance properties anywhere in Kenya. It doesn't have to be in Nairobi and its environs. Even anywhere even in Mombasa, Nakuru, and all these counties, even Kakamega, we can be able to finance our young people. So what you're saying is that you can be able to call in our contact center, which is always 247, and we'll be able to talk to you and be able to guide you through the process, and even be able to share with you some of the properties that we have. Because you find that we have our property portal whereby we post properties that we have in the market or from the vetted developers that we have.
And Stella, just to build up on that, I think one of the bigger misconceptions around owning property, especially amongst young people, is that everybody thinks that when you're owning property, you want to get, that house with 1,000, 1,000 square meters, that house with the kitchen island and the backyard and everything. But what I'm getting from this discussion is, wherever I am right now, I can start small according to the the capacity that I have right now. I can start with that 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment, and then I can slowly build up my portfolio over time towards that dream property that I have.
Definitely, Leo, you find that your first property becomes your stepping stone to other properties. When people are starting out, they did not start off, maybe, for instance, if someone is living in, say, an area like Runda, they did not start off in Runda. They must have started either somewhere like Buruburu or somewhere else, So it's a stepping stone. Start off with that studio, move into 1-bedroom, move into 2-bedroom, and gradually, as your income keeps on improving, as you grow in your career, as you grow in your business, as you grow in your consultancy, then you'll be able to go to that area, that dream area that you've been thinking about it.
And that's really important, because nobody really tells, especially the young people, about that you can start small and then probably sell and upgrade until you get to where you want to be. I think there's this notion that you just start one big project which is big bang, and that's why probably a lot of people are waiting until they are in their 40s or in their 50s to start the journey. So I'm glad that you're saying that you can start small and then incrementally build up the value of my property.
That's truly, and you don't have to sell your first property. Your first property, you can be able to use it, or you can be able to rent it out as you move into the other property, and this becomes your source of income. You don't have to sell, but the moment you feel that you need to sell to be able to get in more equity to the next property that you want to move in, that's okay. But sometimes we encourage our customers, you can keep it if you have the money, because that becomes your source of income.
All right, Stella. Now, bringing it back to the ground, like many Kenyans, right now, I might have identified a small parcel of land in the outskirts of Nairobi, and is that something that NCBA would be willing to finance? And are you able to walk us through the process?
Yes, as NCBA, we'll be able to finance. If, for instance, you get that piece of land, you've identified a piece of land, we'll be able to finance you. First of all, we encourage our customers. It's good to be able to do a proper due diligence of the property. By doing a due diligence of the property is to be able to engage people as even as a valuer or as a surveyor to be able to confirm on the boundaries. So, for instance, I'm interested in buying that piece of land. You come into NCBA, we'll be able to appraise your income. You could be in business, you could be employed, you could be having rental income, you could be in consultancy. We'll be able to finance you. You can either loan, or we also have a solution whereby if you want to be able to build your home immediately, we have our buy and build product, whereby you buy the piece of land or you buy the plot, as we commonly call it, and you build spontaneously. So you'll be able to build your dream home within that period.
So I don't have to be employed. I don't have to have a monthly salary. So far as I'm out there, probably if I'm a go-getter out there and have my side hustle, which is giving me good money, I can come to you and you're able to just appraise my, my receivables into my account, and based on that, you are able to finance me, even if probably I don't have, that big job or like permanent employment.
Yes, we don't have an limitation on the source of income, or what you'll be able to look at is your cash flows, how your cash flows flowing like. Either could be banking them on an M-Pesa statement. We just need to be able to look at those M-Pesa statements and guide you and advise you. We'll appraise you on your income and tell you can be able to qualify for X amount of money. And that becomes your guiding factor, even as you look for that a property, that plot or that house that you want to buy. So there is no limitation on income.
Okay, and thanks for that. And now going back to my earlier question, so I've identified the plot of land, and NCBA has indicated they're willing to finance it. However, I do not have skills in construction. So, what kind of non-financial support is NCBA able to offer me through for first-time builders, especially?
That's a good question, Leo. Then the reason why I'm smiling is because I know very many people would like to get to construction, but they fear, they're thinking, they've had so many horror stories. Even when you check around our friends, you find that there's so many horror stories when it comes to construction. But what we tell our customers, when with our construction product, you have a freedom to be able to choose your professionals, and the professionals you're talking about the architects, you're talking about the quantity surveyor, you're talking about the engineers, and the engineers are talking about the structural or the structural engineer or the architectural engineer. But all those, you have the freedom to be able to choose your service providers or your professionals that you're going to work with. So when it comes to NCBA, the support we offer to you as a customer who wants to be able to construct, we have our project managers who are able to work with you from the first time that you walk in with those drawings. We'll be able to advise you according to your drawings and according to your bills of quantities. They are either overstated or understated. And so we'll be able to advise you what's the best cost and even guide your professionals accordingly. In addition, our project managers also visit the projects, all the construction projects that we have, to ensure that the professionals are doing a good job, the customers' professionals are doing a good job, and also check on the milestones. One thing that you notice in our construction product is that we disperse the money in stages. We don't give the money, all the money to the customer. We disperse in the stages, and our project managers go out there to be able to check how are you progressing, what type of materials are you using, are you using them, are you within the stipulated period that you had stated. All these things we are able to support our customers with.
That definitely gives me more comfort from when we started at the beginning of this discussion, because yes, the story about fundis, everybody has had, everybody knows someone who has gone through some bad story where you're just being told to bring another truckload of sand, bring these X bags of cement, and probably you're not even at the milestone that you're supposed to be, and the money is already exhausted. So I'm glad that the bank is able to support me in offering me advisory and expertise, and their expertise during this process.
Yes.
So it's not time now to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this discussion and probably talk about some of the few other issues I mentioned earlier around the moratorium and basically how that helps our clients during their homeownership journey. Keep sending through those questions and comments so that Stella and I can address them in the course of this discussion.
With our NCBA Bank Home Loan, we can finance up to 105% of your mortgage and give you a repayment period of up to 25 years.
Daddy, that is 25 birthdays for me in our own home. Many suppers together. Lots of laughter with mommy.
We know that it's not about the house, but the many memories made in it. Get an NCBA home loan with up to 105% financing. The name is NCBA, and the numbers that matter to you matter to us. NCBA Bank. Go for it.
Welcome back to Money Mastery from the bank that says go for it. I've been having a discussion with Stella Mutai, the head of property finance at NCBA. Stella, picking up where we left off, what is a moratorium, and why do banks get some of these big names?
Thank you, Leo. It's not a big name as you tend to think about it. We'll be able to simplify. And basically, when you talk about a moratorium, we offer it to all our construction products. And the reason why we have it is because you find when you're paying a loan, you're paying two components. A loan is composed of interest and composed of principal. So during construction, our moratorium period is 9 months. And what happens is that we tell our customers during this period, you're not going to pay the principal. And since we are disbursing the money in stages, and since we know that you're already paying rent wherever you are, and you have so many costs to incur, you find that a construction, it's cash incentive. We need a lot of cash. You need to be able to buy one or two things, or actually many things, not one or two things. So we are helping our customers and telling them this. Through the moratorium, you are not going to pay the principal. You're just going to pay the interest of the money that has been disbursed for the 9 months.
Okay, so basically, I mean, when I'm going through it's an arduous process. When I'm going through that entire leg, the bank is able to waive, or quote unquote, to give me a breathing period, so that then I'm only servicing the interest of the parts of the loan that has been disbursed, and then I start servicing the principal after the construction is complete, to try to ease, the financial burden throughout the construction process. Is that a correct assessment?
That's true, Leo.
All right, Stella, I would like to maybe shift gears a little and respond to some of the questions and comments that are coming through right now. And thanks for everyone for sending through those comments and questions. Keep them coming. Now, before I do that, Stella, I would like to try to bust some of the myths around home ownership and property finance. The biggest fear around this process is the fear of the repossession of my house if I'm not able to service the loan. We are all, me included, and I think other guys are always in fear of the moment I miss that one payment, maybe because the business has gone down, the bank is going to come there with an auctioneer knocking and trying to sell off my property. Are you able to tell us about that process and basically how it's handled?
Well, it's unfortunate, and it's not a joy as NCBA or even as a lender for us to be able to get there. And Leo, one thing that you notice that you note that for a loan, or if you take a facility with a bank like NCBA, it's required to be paid every month or within the communicated date. So when the money does not come within the stipulated time, you find that the loan goes into arrears. So if the loan goes into arrears, that's when now we start having issues. So what we tell our customers is, in case of a financial difficulty, don't fear approaching the bank. Talk to your relationship manager. One of the best people, one of the persons that you need to be able to have close to you is a relationship manager. Your relationship manager or your banker, because in case of a financial difficulty, you'll be able to support you. We can easily be able to restructure your facility and even guide you on the next step on what you need to be able to do. So don't sit back and say it's okay, let the auctioneers come. But for us, a foreclosure process is not our joy, and we don't like getting to there. So we sit with our customers and get them throughout the process on what to do, and even sometimes advise the customers, if possible, you can choose to be able to sell your property through private treaty or through other realtors in the market, so as you can be able to offset the loan. But one thing that we know we do is that we work with our customers even when they're down, and even when they're up.
Stella, that gives us a lot of comfort, because I think there's that notion that the bank is inflexible and they're not willing to have these discussions. But what you're saying is that in case I'm anticipating some difficulties of the future, or in case I'm already going through some of these stumbles, I can come through to the bank. I can ask to speak to you or a branch manager or my RM, and basically able to discuss it and see how we can continue, making those repayments within the what I'm going through, at that particular time.
Absolutely.
Sample some of the questions coming through, and the first one is from Kerubo, at Doti Kerubo. Kerubo is asking, how do I even start my journey to owning property? I know you've addressed it maybe in the earlier discussion points, but are you able to give a summarized version to answer to that question?
Thanks, Leo. And to Kerubo, for you to start your property ownership journey, you can be able to start even whatever property that you'll be able to see. You don't have to be choosy. You might have seen a studio. Remember, we can be able to finance you and guide you. And even it can be in any location, we'll be able to finance you. One thing that you know is that a property, a home is a basic need for everybody. So what we're able to do is that we will be able to finance whatever type of a property. And to Keribo, don't be shy, even to walk into to NCBA, call in our contact center, which is 247, and we'll be able to guide you on where you can start off.
Good. Next question. There's a question from Lucy Munyui, who's asking, can you build rentals for someone, then take a certain percentage of the rental money? I believe she implies that can she put up a rental property and then use some of the proceeds of rental income to service that property finance loan?
Yes, Leo. For our property finance proposition, we not only finance people who want to buy their own homes. Yeah, it's not only for own occupation. Even people who want to be able to get into investment, we're able to finance them. If you want to be able to build a block of flats or multiple units, we will be able to finance you, and we'll be able to rely on the rental income as a source of repayment. And the moment whereby we feel that the rental income is not sufficient, then you can be able to go back to your cash flows. Either you're working, whether you're in business, we can be able to combine these two incomes for them to be able to service the property, the loan that you've taken from NCBA.
And still, even from our earlier discussions, off camera, I know you mentioned that rental. The conversation about rental income does not only apply to the guys who want to put up the rental blocks. You can even now identify maybe an apartment in a prime area where it's getting good rent, and buy that property and try to use that rental income from that specific property to help you, repay the mortgage in the bank, right?
Exactly.
All right, the third question here is coming from Martin, who is asking, I'm a Kenyan living in the UK and I'm interested in acquiring property back home. How does the multi-currency work?
Well, that's a very good question. And one thing I can be able to say is that our Kenyans living in the diaspora, they're not left out. We finance Kenyans, and we finance them in different currencies. We have, if you want to borrow in euro, we'll be able to finance you in euro. If you want to borrow in pounds, we'll be able to finance you. If you want to borrow in USD or in dollars, we'll be able to finance you. So don't feel limited thinking that I'm in the UK, I'm in the US, or whatever part of or outside the country, whatever, we'll be able to finance you. That we'll be able to look at your income and at your income for you to invest back home. And we're encouraging more Kenyans living out there. And even with the pandemic, what has happened is that we have noted more Kenyans who are living in the diaspora. They want to be able to invest back home because home is the marriage of our diaspora department, whereby customers through whatever type of investment customers want to take up.
Finally, there's one question here from Catherine. I would like to invest with you, but I'm afraid of losing my house in case I fall into financial difficulties. I think you've already answered that in your earlier question. So Stella, thank you so much for those insights. I mean, thank you for breaking this big discussion into small morsels where me and the viewer is able to appreciate and just absorb it. And to our viewers, that's all the time we had for you on Money Mastery and conversations from NCBA. Till next time, when we speak about another set of numbers that matter to you. To learn more about our products, visit our website, ke.ncbagroup.com. That is ke.ncbagroup.com. Or better yet, you can call the numbers on your screen after the show. You can also like, follow, and subscribe on our social media handles on your screen right now. Until then, my name is Leo Kinyoi. Goodbye and continue keeping safe.